The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 22nd day of August, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman. She's Maya Palacio. And we're going to be writing together for the entire show today. Not just break.
You got me.
It takes a lot these days. Hey, yo, folks. That's just like, I'm just doing a news break today, right? So, She didn't leave me hanging. But greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Tiffany Paynter on. She's from OUTBermuda. We're going to be discussing Bermuda Pride homecoming. So it is Pride Week this week, right?
Pride Week just started on Monday for Bermuda.
Right. It's Pride Week this week. So we'll have Tiffany on. She's going to be just educating us, explaining what's going on. So we're going to have her on for an extended period. Any questions, comments from the audience, please share, ask your questions. This is your opportunity. The daily play is a remember when. So, Maya, I got this thing.
It's always something.
I got this game to help me with it's history, right? So it's going to help me with the remember when. So real remember when's now coming up.
Real. So the ones before weren't real.
See how she is. Whatever. If you don't get it, then it worked. All right, because you all were starting to get the answers too easily. I was slowing up. All right, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. But real quickly, I just want to say a thank you to Glenn Tucker, who just became a member of our YouTube channel. So thank you, Mr. Tucker. And folks, you too can become a member of our YouTube channel just by hitting the join button, which if you're watching on YouTube, you should see the join button right below the video. Please, we'd love to have you on board and experience the Daily Hour a bit differently from most. So thanks again to Glenn Tucker, and you too can become a member just by hitting the join button. Are you a member, Maya?
Am I a member?
Yeah.
Of the YouTube?
Yeah.
No.
That's helpful. Jeez. I'm not.
I think I remember asking you before if I should start to remember. You're like, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a member either. Because
exactly, I was like, does it make sense if I'm?
I mean, we're on the show. I didn't think it would.
Well, then why you ask me? Like it's some big deal that I'm not on it.
Because I just wanted to make you look bad for a second. It's hard to do, It's hard to do. And then now you put me in the same space. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the news break early, and then we like I said, we have an extended conversation with Tiffany from OUTBermuda. So, ready for the news break?
I am ready for the news break. Yeah.
All right, over to you, madam.
Good morning, everyone. This is a Daily Hour news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Starting out the news early this morning with some news coming from Media Maya. So the other day I asked the audience on Media Maya about the light bulb situation. I think we've all heard about it, the initiative for the LED lights. We had the newly appointed OBA leader, Mr. Jarian Richardson, on here the other day, and I asked him that same question, and also just looking at the press conference that was released from the government that is currently in. And so I asked my audience whether or not, since they know the information about the fact that it's free, the fact that it's 4 bulbs per household, will they be going out to get these light bulbs for the initiative? And here is the response. It's very close. So we're looking at 49% said yes and 51% said no into whether or not they'll be collecting the LED light bulbs for this initiative.
I'm confused, folks. Look, an audience, live audience, let us know, yes or no. You getting your LED bulbs to use? I'm confused by the 51% saying no, folks. Okay, never mind. No, I'm not anymore. See, it just hit me. Because I was going to say, they're technically giving them to you. Why not take them? But on the other side, you're saying, nope, it's going to cost me gas and inconvenience me to go get them. Then you're probably saying it's my money anyway. And on principle, you're saying, I'm not getting these LED bulbs because I don't need them. And it's a waste. Because I was thinking, I'm like, man, it's free, but it's not free. And I think we have to change our mindset that nothing a government gives us is free. The money is coming from you somehow, some way. So I was just going to come at you, Nurse, but I'm pulling it back.
Yeah, I think today will be my day to ask a follow-up as to why people said no. I would love to know the reasoning behind the no's, though, still, just to see what everyone's thinking, because, you know, the government has said the impact on what savings person per household should get. But again, 4 light bulbs probably isn't enough for one household. So I don't know what type of benefits some people might get, some might won't.
I think this may go down in history as one of the most interesting things a government has done. Almost like we're out of ideas, let's do something. And this is what they came up with.
We'll find out more, because I'd love to know who used them and what savings people actually got. So coming up next in the news break, still on Media Maya, we asked this question on Daily Hour, and it was, what initiative needs to be in a party platform for you to vote for them? And so here are some of the responses here at the bottom. Affordable government housing, putting a cap on the rising cost of food, an environmental platform, better initiatives for seniors, and a decent increase in pension, not 4% starting in September, better employment opportunities for those entering the workforce, fix the root of the issue, not covering them up and allowing them to get bigger. What are we doing to decrease house costs? Again, this next one I found quite interesting. Revamping childcare regulations, Childcare Act pertaining to childcare, and also responsible government that isn't run by an authoritarian wannabe and his cronies. More resources, for disabled toddlers, i.e. nursery schools for inclusion and LGBTQ rights.
You know what I found most interesting? And I was looking intently just now. No one mentioned the root cause of our current living situation. And it tells me something. And I said this last week, and I said it on Twitter. Bermuda has, the biggest problem in Bermuda is racism, structurally. But because we have a Black government and, failed young Black leader, people don't even understand and look at it. Not one person said the racist infrastructure of Bermuda. I mean, think about it. Who, in a majority Black country, which is dwindling, who owns everything? Who runs everything? Who decides everything? Not your government. That's why they can't get anything done, because they don't understand the difference between political and economic power. So I just find it interesting that all of those problems actually come from one thing. And no one, in my opinion, ever touches on that. It all comes from that. Just interesting.
All right. Well, coming up next in the news break, disruption to flushing water supply in St. George's for infrastructure updates. So if you live in St. George, you definitely want to tap into this one and read on. Definitely want to screenshot this if you can as well, just for more added information. But the Ministry of Public Works would like to inform residents and stakeholders in St. George that there will be a temporary disruption in the flushing non-portable water supply provided by the water and sewage section. This disruption is necessary to facilitate crucial water and wastewater infrastructure upgrades in the St. George's and Southside areas, they say. The The disruption in the flushing water supply is scheduled for Monday, the 28th of August, to be expected and restored by Thursday, the 31st of August. So this Thursday, hopefully everything is restored. These infrastructure upgrades are essential, they say, to enhancing the water and wastewater system in the region, ensuring improved services and a more reliable supply for residents and facilities in the area. Buildings in the following area may be affected by the scheduled service interruptions. You see them there on the screen, but it's Redcoat Lane, Old Military Road, Barracks Close, Slippery Hill, St. George's Bus Depot, East End Primary School, and other adjacent lanes and areas. The works being carried out are associated with legacy sanitary water system installations by the British military before 1943 to service its installation and barracks. Very few as built drawings exist, and there have been no material upgrades since then.
I can't say what I said off air, but
You can.
yeah. So it's not a laughing matter. I do not envy people living in those spaces who have to go without flushing for one day, let alone 3 or 4. So hopefully that situation's rectified at the earliest.
Yes, I 100% agree. Again, it says residents with inquiries or concerns regarding the service interruptions are encouraged to contact the office by emailing water@gov.bm, or you can also phone 278-0570. Again, that's 278-0570.
Okay.
All right. Coming up next in Newsbreak, the Gina Spence. This is an initiative that's been annual. This is the 11th year, but Gina Spence Production and Gibbons Company are preparing for their 11th annual Each One Reach One Back to School event. If you haven't heard about this initiative here, Gina Spence says, we, along with our major sponsors and community partners, Gibbons, are excited and thankful to be able to provide our children with gently used school uniforms and gift cards once again this year. We know that many charities have closed their doors. Others have had to cut back on programs due to the impact of COVID-19 has had on the economy, she says. So basically, parents can drop their gently used school uniform items to Gibbons Child's Department and receive a $10 cash coupon for every $50 spent. The deadline to drop off your gently used uniforms is actually tomorrow, Wednesday the 23rd at 6 p.m. And they'll be distributing the gently used school items to pre-registered applicants only. Limited gift cards will be distributed as well, and the deadline to register online again is tomorrow as well, Wednesday, August the 23rd. As you see in the image right above from you, who will be benefiting from this partnership, their goal of what they're trying to raise, and the event as well when you'll be able to collect.
Okay. No comment.
All right. Next on the news break this morning, just some road closures. The Minister of Public Works wishes to inform motorists and pedestrians that a partial road closure on Barry Hill Road at the junction with King Edward Memorial Hospital parking lot entrance and exit will take place to allow the installation of an elevated crosswalk. The partial road closure will start at the northwesterly hospital parking lot entrance and finish at the northeasterly hospital parking lot exit. The parking stalls along Barry Hill Road north edge will be closed and used for rerouting pedestrians. So the partial road closure will not allow through traffic at any time and will commence on Thursday, August 24th, all the way to September the 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't act like you didn't know, folks.
You'll definitely notice. That's for sure. And then our weather today, looking like some sun and clouds with a couple of early morning showers. We have a high of 87 degrees Fahrenheit. And just want to continue on with the announcement about it being hurricane season and just getting prepared.
Indeed. Well, I've got a days of the year for you, Maya.
All right.
It's Eat a Peach Day. Yeah. Eat a peach. Do you like peaches, Maya?
I do, but I don't go out of my way to buy them.
Well, I was in the grocery store last weekend, and it had this big sign, in season, because I guess there's so many different fruits that are no longer in season and people are artificially growing them. What they're saying, they're in season, so get them now. So it's Peach Day. This day is dedicated to obviously eating peaches, as the name suggests. Do you know who produces the most peaches, like more than half of the peaches in the world?
I have no clue where peaches are grown.
China produces more than half of the peaches in the world. See, I would have thought Georgia, since it's known as a peach state, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. History of Peach Day. Like many of the world's most delicious foods, the peach tree finds its origins deep in the northwest region of China in a beautiful area in the foothills. So how do we celebrate Peach Day? Well, head to your nearest store, farmer's market, neighborhood. Like when I say neighborhoods, please ask your neighbors for permission before going in their yard and grabbing a peach, all right? We don't need any incidents, have you up on CNN and all. No, none of that. Grab yourself a peach for breakfast, lunch, or put it as part of that dessert from Georgia. What is called peach cobbler.
Peach cobbler.
Yeah. So audience, let us know. Do you love peaches? How do you love your peaches? I just bite into one. And Low, she says, I ate a peach today. There you go.
Ahead of the game.
How do you like your peaches, Maya?
I think I just bite into them as well. I don't really do that much.
You're like me. You're just a regular person. You're a regular person. I don't do anything fancy. I see people like slicing them all fancy and dipping them into like some yogurt or whipped cream. I'm like, nah, man, just eat the damn food. All right, folks. Happy Peach Day. Go enjoy your peach. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. We've got Tiffany Paynter. We're talking about Bermuda Pride homecoming. So do not go anywhere. It's about to be a good ass conversation.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Welcome back to the big show. Maya Palacio. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our guests for the day. We've got our good friend, Tiffany. You know what? I'm about a story about Tiffany before we bring her on. I always have a story. So I had to go to the bank for something. And you know me, Maya, I get global entry. I don't like waiting in lines or whatnot. Tiffany was sitting there, and I believe she gave me a ticket, helped me through that line. So I'm just going to say it helps to know people when you get in certain spaces, because a person like me, I like to skip lines. So that's the story. It's not too long. But thank you, Tiffany, for helping.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Maya's not happy that story that long. Anyway, here we go. Let's welcome Tiffany into his house. Good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning, Jamal. Thanks for sharing that story. I feel like a real hero.
Thank you. You were a hero. You were a hero. Me and my patients, we have issues. We're working through them, though.
I saw you. You came in. You took one look at the line, and then you turned right back around. I said, "Okay, let me help him out."
That sounds like Jamal.
That's my normal life, and I don't shy from that. I don't have the patience. I will come back another day. But this is not about me. This is about you. This is about the important issues in Bermuda and people that we are discussing. And I know you wanted to kind of share something that you felt was very important with the audience.
Yeah, we can get into your questions and share in the middle of the talk, but mostly I'm just grateful to be here. I am a huge Daily Hour fan, and I was saying to you before when I saw that you had Teo Dill join, I was like, this team just keeps getting better and better. I'm waiting for my phone call. I'm here. I'm ready. You know, you need walk the streets. But I want to thank you for being an ally. In my opinion, I feel like you have always been a supporter and always welcome Out Bermuda to share on your show. So thank you again for providing us space this morning, and thank you, Maya, for agreeing to be here and giving me an extended time, which I found out 20 minutes ago.
I've been slacking, so that's on me. But it's interesting because you know, I if you go on Twitter from last week, you know, when it comes to allyship, it's like I said, like you all don't even know. And I was talking about specifically about two people. You don't even know how you're turning off people who support you by just attack. And so people were trying to make sense of it. And I said this humbly, and it's on my tweet. I know how to turn people off. I was part of the conscription movement. We turned a lot of people off the way we responded to people because, in our opinion, if you were gangsters, we were coming at you. We weren't trying to educate you. And that's why I said to Maya, and I'm going to share it publicly. I said, Maya, no, you have to keep talking. You have to keep educating because you said, oh, I don't even know why I'm explaining it. But we have to. Did you not?
Yeah, I was getting frustrated with everything that was like being said.
And I said to her, I said, no, because I've been through it. You get tired, you get angry, you get frustrated. So if you believe in your cause and you believe it's righteous and you believe that it's necessary, it's frustrating, it's hard, but you have to keep explaining and educating. So thank you for coming on, and thank you for the many people who continue to come on and engage, whether it's received how you'd like it to be received or not. Conversations like this are important. It's not necessarily about agreement first go around, but at least understanding. So with that said, about Pride Bermuda and its purpose.
Yeah, to your point, one of my favorite movies is The Matrix. And in The Matrix, Morpheus has this scene where this guy comes up to him and he says, what if I don't believe what you believe? And Morpheus says, my beliefs do not require you to. And I just think that's the dopest line in any movie. And Matrix is my favorite movie of all time. And so it really is about understanding. It really is about staying in the conversation and being in the conversation. Because ultimately, I don't think people are the problem. I really, in the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, a Buddhist monk, our enemy is hatred, anger, ignorance, and fear. It's not people. And so that's basically where we're coming from this Pride. What was your question again, Jamel?
No problem. And thank you for saying that. I was just saying, tell us a bit about Pride Bermuda and its purpose.
So the purpose of Bermuda Pride is, a lot of people think that Pride means to protest, that we, instead of calling it parade, it should be a march, that it gives us a moment to protest any injustices we face, whether they are interpersonally or politically. Other people feel that Pride is about joy and celebration of life, living unapologetically. Other people feel Pride is about coming together and having that strength in numbers and providing cover and protection for more vulnerable members of our community. And Pride is all of those things. It's not one thing. It should never be one thing. And anyone that wants it to be one thing or says it's one thing isn't taking into consideration how important it is for everyone that it is all of those things. So that's what we hope to be doing this year in Pride, is honoring, educating, celebrating, and just showing the Bermuda that we are a part of a part of us. We are a part of the wider culture. We are a part of you. We are Bermuda. And that's why we've invited Bermudians who've left the island to come home this year and to celebrate Pride Homecoming with us.
Indeed. And folks, if you have any questions or comments for Tiffany throughout this conversation, please send them through, put them in the comments. We'll get through as many questions and comments as possible. Let's talk about progress. how would you say, and let's just be honest, Bermuda has been, I don't think, just based on what I see, I don't think Bermuda is as religious as it once was. I just don't see it. Been into many churches and I don't see it. But I don't think it's just churches. And I always look at that. People always, I guess it's easy to say, oh, this is why we don't have this sort of progress because of the church. And I don't think that's fair, to be honest. There's just culturally, it's more of a cultural thing. But how would you rate the progress for the LGBTQ plus community in Bermuda as of 2023?
I think that we have made great progress over the years in terms of changing hearts and minds, which really involves opening hearts and minds. I think that part of the change is just happening on an individual basis. What happens when we have events like Pride is that we are opening up invitations to people to have conversations. Some of those conversations are deeply restorative, where moms and daughters are sitting around the dinner table or kitchen sink talking through their issues and through their challenges with each other's with whether that's in coming out or feeling fully accepted in their family units. But in terms of there's personal changes. For instance, like, you know, my when I was 18, I was kicked out of my house, and it was a painful experience. But since then, you know, my relationship with my dad has changed, has grown, has healed, and we have restored like this beautiful relationship. And that's what we find is happening on this individual level. And on a greater level, we have a survey that was conducted in 2016 and then again in 2020, and the dial is moving. I think with the Human Rights Act that was put through in 2014, I believe, the Bermuda general public have come to understand that we are human, that we deserve equal human rights. And we see that the change and that the acceptance of Bermuda is growing every year. And we continue to ride that wave, understanding that, you know, there are going to be some early adopters and there are going to be some laggers, you know, so it is what it is.
Just explain real quickly, just go deeper, because you mentioned deserve the same human rights. For those who may not understand, what are these rights that you're referring to? Because for years you heard people saying that, you know, they couldn't rent a house as a same-sex couple. It impacted getting jobs. What specifically are some of the issues that people need to understand that you're fighting for as it relates to human rights?
So in terms of rights, before 2014, sexual orientation wasn't in the Human Rights Act in Bermuda. So there was no recourse or legal repercussions for discriminating against the LGBTQ plus community. And so that's part of why it was so important to get those two words into the Human Rights Act. And that was a grassroots work, protest and advocacy done by two words and a comma that relied on allies and moms and aunts. And I remember even what sticks out to me was this beautiful picture of Ajala, formerly Junior Birchall, holding his son in the newspaper, a big widespread ad. And I think it served the purpose of helping Bermuda to understand that when you say hurtful things, when you deny the humanity of our community, you're actually just denying the humanity of potentially your children. You're denying the full access and rights of your cousin, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your father, your mother. And I think that's what the work continues to be, is to understand history and how dehumanization ultimately ends up in violence, whether that violence is enacted on an individual level or on a collective level.
And with the Pride events coming up happening this week, what can those who'd like to support Bermuda Pride events expect to experience?
Well, I think one of the things we just had a volunteer meeting yesterday, and we had the commissioner of the police and the superintendent laws come, and they shared beautifully at the opening of our volunteer meeting that they will provide a safe environment for us, that it is their duty and honor to protect without fear or favor. And I remember him saying that and feeling actually comforted by that. So safety is definitely something that the Bermuda community can expect. Affordability is also one thing that people can expect. Joy, celebration. This year, our taglines are kind of honor, educate, celebrate. And so we hope to be doing all of that within the events. We have a full lineup of events, starting with Harbor Nights, Pride Edition and Takeover, and moving into an open mic night on Thursday at Masterworks, a Pride Prom on Friday. Then we kick off in the morning with the parade at 10 a.m. sharp. So be in the park before 10 a.m. so that you're part of the parade. A glow party afterwards, followed by a Sunday service at Wesley Methodist at 11 a.m. for those of us who survive the hangover of Saturday night, and then a drag brunch as the final moment of pride at the Lorenz. So it is a full lineup, and that lineup actually came through from the community. We held community roundtables in December of last year. We held a global Zoom inviting LGBTQ plus Bermudians who have left the island to tune in and help us to craft this year's theme and this year's lineup. So that's why it's bigger, and we're hoping that's why it's better. And we're seeing people flying in from different cities, different countries, and I'm getting excited daily by the hour.
I just want to pull this up so everyone can kind of see, because I still had this there. So you want to screenshot to save the date, Pride Homecoming. They're the events right there that Tiffany was just mentioning as well, that you can take part and join in.
Yeah, thank you, Maya, for sharing that. Screenshot it. Come in peace.
Yeah. Awesome. So for me, my question, real quick for you, just to briefly kind of tell us the difference between, because I know there's two accounts, I both follow them, but Bermuda Pride and Out Bermuda. Can you tell us the difference between those accounts, like what they provide?
So Bermuda Pride is actually a charity. It's the charity that runs. Out Bermuda is the charity. It's the umbrella under which Bermuda Pride comes. So Bermuda Pride was initially, again, started by grassroots individuals who just decided we're going to organize a pride, and they held a march in 2019, a parade in 2019, and then the community wanted it to grow, and it got bigger and bigger, and so last year it was actually passed on to us, Out Bermuda, to develop and grow and steward. And so Out Bermuda is the charity in which we're providing year-round programming, such as one-on-one free therapy to the LGBTQ plus community through Solstice, peer youth support groups, intergenerational chat and choose, movie nights, workshops, safe zone trainings that are coming up that we'll be rolling out post-Pride, etc. And Bermuda Pride is a program underneath that. But the difference between Bermuda Pride and everything else is that Bermuda Pride helps us to pay for everything else. So when you see the sponsors, names on the banner, rainbow and gold sponsors, their sponsorship actually helps us to pay the bills, keep the lights on, whether those lights are from the light bulbs from the government or not. But that's what the sponsorship is doing.
Thank you for explaining that difference. Jamal?
No, I'll save my comments about the sponsors to later. I said it to Tiffany last year. She knows how I feel about the sponsors. But go ahead.
Okay, moving on to my next question.
Oh, was I not? Okay, you go. I named no sponsors.
No, that's not what he's talking about. But continue on. So Kavita Lorraine, like she does the weekly, like or bi-weekly, I think, Safe Spaces Saturdays on OUTBermuda. I'm kind of wondering, how did that series like begin?
I think I can't remember whose great idea it was, but it is a great idea. And Kavina is our social media manager for OUTBermuda. And we just felt like part of what we wanted to do when we brought on the social media manager was educate the community about like where they could find safe spaces. And so she has been highlighting safe spaces every Saturday or every other Saturday since she's come on board. And people are actually reaching out to us saying, you know, we're a safe space. And eventually what we hope to do is well, not even what we hope. I've already taken a safe zone training, and it's a train the trainers training in which I then will be offering safe zone training to companies, charities, um, small businesses that want to be certified as a safe zone to recognize their intentional acts and deeds to make their places of business a safe space.
That's awesome. I love that initiative. Do you know when that will probably like be starting up and how business can reach out?
So we are actually going to be starting with our friends and allies first. We're doing a soft launch in October and working out any kinks and getting feedback from groups that have asked for it, so that we know, like, so that we can make it more Bermudian, and we can, and then when we do the hard launch, actually have all the kinks and all the ideas kind of worked out.
Nice. Now, in terms of like education in this year's theme, homecoming, and all the events coming up, I remember last year I was the moderator for the panel that we had, and it was such an incredible experience, and I love that event so much. But in terms of educating the community about the LGBTQIA plus community, like in terms of like the laws or experiences or just sharing things, obviously people could do it at each event with their individual person. But is there anything specific in this event lineup that like has to do with like education and discussion?
Yeah, so we're educating all over two social media platforms: the Bermuda Pride platform, which is hosted by Yassine, and the OUTBermuda platform hosted by Kavina. And so we've purposefully embedded conversations in those platforms, such as the Wish You Were Here conversations and the Safe Saturday conversations, and now the couples conversations, to be educating the public along leading up to Pride. And then during Pride, we're actually going to be giving out, we have a change makers highlighting series, change makers in the LGBTQ plus community that we'll be showing at the Pride Prom. We have an icon awards that we're giving away, honoring 3 community members or groups for allyship, community building, and advocacy. So we have some things embedded into Pride to be educating and honoring and celebrating all throughout. And then on the Thursday, we have an open mic night hosted by Darren Herbert, who sent me his who shared his pictures of who shared with Bermuda Pride the pictures of him coming home on the airplane with his wife and daughter. He's going to be hosting the open mic, similar to how you hosted last year, Maya, and they'll be doing an artist talk with Dakari Love, also known as Nkosi, Aisha Townsend, and Yassine. So that talk will be a highlight for me in particular, as he's going to be exploring what it means to be a queer artist in Bermuda and beyond. So lots in store. I hope you'll come.
That sounds like an amazing lineup. That sounds like an incredible lineup. I'm excited for that. Can I ask personally for you, what does an ally look like for you?
To me, an ally looks like somebody that is intentional around how they're showing up for their loved ones, their staff, their LGBTQ plus friends and family. It looks like speaking up in the midst of any type of casual homophobia happening around the dinner table, or on the cricket, around the cricket pitches, or wherever that might come up. That's what it looks like for me. Is an ally creates intentional space, is intentionally protective, is courageous. And will stand will stand with you, beside you when the stones are being thrown. So that's for me is what an ally is.
See, and this is just me being honest. It may get me in trouble, but folks, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. I said this publicly before. I'll say it again. I'm for everybody Black. Now, I don't. I try to make sense of this with people. You know, I don't. If you're gay, if that's your thing, you're Black first to me. So I'm riding for you. I'm riding with you. I cannot say I'm an ally with people who are outright racist who are gay, and there are many in Bermuda in these spaces. So when I say ally to it, I'm allies to those who I know I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for. That's who I am. But I don't, and this is my issue, is I don't see the community as one. I don't. Let's be here. I'm clear here. There are people who will jump on this cause because it's easy, but they'll never stand up for that. Yeah, I'm riding with you. And one of the things I said to someone last week, I'm just like, I think the best way to put it is, if the only doctor to save your life was a Black gay doctor, are you really telling me you're choosing death? I guarantee you're not, because at the end of the day, some of us may not be afraid to die, but that don't mean we want to die, right? So I think putting things into context, I'm writing for everybody Black. I make no apologies about that. Your sexuality doesn't matter to me. I think the issues, and thank you for asking that, Maya. One of the issues that Maya and we all encounter is people thinking that it's being forced on them, it's being pushed on children and so on. That came up last week. How do we confront that?
How do we
confront that with people thinking? So what was it, Maya? It was something to do with
I understand. Yeah, I think that for me, my response is that there is no gay agenda other than to protect and save the lives of queer people. My partner has encouraged me to share a little personally, and I even feel my heart racing and my throat closing as I try to step into my courage to share personally. But my best friend is Mark. I went to St. George's Prep with him. I went to primary school, high school, and we were like this. People used to think that we were dating until they realized how gay we both were. But we were inseparable. And Mark suffered. He didn't find his strength in time. And he was gay, and he was bullied first by his family, and then bullied by his peers, and bullied by his teachers, and bullied by his coworkers. And he tried to take his life several times, and the last time he was successful. And so I lost my mom and my best friend within a year. And I think that when people talk about protecting children, they don't understand that that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're not trying to enroll or enlist anybody. We're just trying to create a safe space. And for those who don't have a safe space in their homes, who have to hear, faggot and butty boy and derogatory comments around their dinner table or in their living rooms, who find themselves homeless because of who they are at an early age. And so who find that when this generation is coming out at 12, at 14, they're coming out and they're braver than us. Most of my generation waited until we were 18, or even waited until we could pay rent, knowing that our homes would not be safe spaces. So I understand that people will always talk about harm for the children. But if you really want to protect children, then take the SCARS training and educate yourself, and know who are the real threats to your children, because they're definitely not me, and they're definitely not gay people.
My.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Thank you. Like, to share your story, his story, and just making it clear. Making it clear. I guess my last question really was about the impact that you're hoping that this year's Pride event has on Bermuda.
Yeah, so is it okay if I share a speech that I wrote that I'm only gonna share it here and maybe one more time, maybe at the parade or at Harbor Night. Was it okay if I share a brief speech that I wrote that I was inspired by another Daily Hour, a diehard, which is one of our board members, Jamaica Smith, and she's a landscape architect. And she posted this thing on Facebook recently where she had listed all these weeds and all the purposes of all the weeds. And it was happening at this time where like a lot of hatred started coming through in WhatsApp and through Twitter, etc. Well, could I take a moment to share this speech?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So I've titled the speech, Everything Has a Purpose. Everything has a purpose. Even some weeds are edible. Purslane, dandelions, even stinging nettles can be made into teas. There is a purpose for everything under the sun. I believe that the purpose of hateful, hypocritical, bigoted people is to give those who find themselves disturbed or pained by their behavior a moment to uproot what is hateful, hypocritical, or bigoted in ourselves. But know that people are not the enemy. Our enemy is hatred, anger, ignorance, and fear. Some people commit acts of terrorism in the name of their God. Some people commit acts of kindness in the name of theirs. Some people don't need to believe in God to be just, kind, or brave. They come by it honestly. While others have enslaved people in the name of their God-given destiny. When you look at the history of humankind, we see cruelty and kindness enacted in the name of God, both BC and AD. Part of being human is making sense of our purpose here. And some people find a sense of purpose in dehumanizing and discriminating against others, while others find their purpose in uplifting and supporting others. James Baldwin is quoted as saying, "We can disagree and still love each other, unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and the denial of my humanity and right to exist. But let's never confuse disagreement with discrimination and bigoted actions and hateful speech. You can't disagree with a community. You can't disagree a community into extinction. Queer people exist. We have existed BC, and we will exist long after AD. It is not lost on me that some people view the LGBTQ plus community as weeds. Weeds that don't belong in the Garden of Bermuda. But we are not just weeds. We are seeds. We are seeds of true equality, seeds of beauty and resilience, seeds of unconditional love and forgiveness. And some will throw dirt on us. Some will even try to bury us. But the same tank rain falls on all our houses, all our heads, and all our garden beds. And so we rise to choose life and light and pride and joy.
You know, as I read along as you were speaking, and James Baldwin, some quotes are timeless, right? Mm-hmm. But what I'd say to his quote is, I'd go a step further. We can love through disagreement, even if it's an oppression, but what we shouldn't do, and this is what I felt about the Gombe situation, I have no issue with people excusing themselves from that. The issue for me comes when you start telling others to boycott. The issue is telling others to treat people a certain way. When you start to basically demonize people, that to me is where the issues come from. But to me, disagreement still leaves opportunity for understanding, and also mind being changed. You know, I say all the time on this show, Mike, I'm not here trying to change anyone's mind. I don't want you. I'm here to make you think. I want you to think. Think of things that you may have not thought. Think of things a bit differently. Consider other perspectives. Through that, maybe your mind will change or maybe it won't. But at the end of the day, I think that we have a very small community in Bermuda.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's enough room for us to hate somebody. I know people continuously say, well, disagreement doesn't equate to hate. Actually, sometimes it does. And we need to be honest about that. Sometimes it does. I think there's some clear lines that we need to be defined. I'm very public about where I stand with this.
Yeah.
And that's my choice. Others, maybe they're not. But I do have issue with anyone who promotes violence or hate against somebody because of their sexuality. I think that's where we shouldn't have, that shouldn't be the final place, obviously, when it makes a difference. But I just want to say to you, and you know, it's funny you mentioned Jamaica. That's my girl. That's my sister. You know, but she knows personally. You know, I probably speak to her as much as, well, more than my own sisters, but that's because we have so much in common. But I say that because she just wrote a book, and there are people. If we don't know their sexuality, we'd probably think they're the greatest people in the world.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I've learned is what we know about people we tend to love is what we don't know that kind of scares us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
it is, it really, Jamal, it really is the case, you know, like the thing is that, you know, I love the Gumbays as much as I loved them yesterday or the day before. Every time you hear the drumming, you know, you get excited. You know, you pop your door open. You stick your head out the window trying to see what street they're on. Are they on the street? How are they in my neighborhood today? It's like Christmas without it being Christmas when you see the Gumbays on your street. You know, so I choose to believe that. I don't view the Gumbays as collective. I view them as individuals. I know some, I love some. And so for me, it's not a matter of, again, making people the enemy. It's not. Our enemy is truly hatred. It's anger, it's ignorance, and it's fear. And so I'm gonna keep loving the Gumbays. I'm gonna keep supporting them. I'm gonna keep, you know, refining my wielding fake axe game, whatever it might be.
I'm gonna put that right back on you and the LGBT community.
Yeah.
Not a collective. There are individuals who may be for the same goals. And that's where I think the disconnect is. Even with Bermudians Against the Draft, there were 14 men on a writ. I'm not responsible for the actions of others. So I think we all need to be honest about, while there are collective goals, there's collective vision, there are individuals. And I think that's the fairest way to kind of explain this. I think there's been progress. I think there's still a long way to go in terms of, you know, why?
Yeah.
Why are we, you know, we were there, we're here, but why are we so far from there? And I think we know the answers to that. I think we know the answers, but it's about working through it. I think both sides have become intolerant. Even the tolerant have become intolerant because we're in a space where social media, everyone can say what they want without no consequence. And so it's led to a unsafe, I mean, you all may feel like it's safe. I think we're in a more unsafe space because now people can identify each other more, right?
Yeah, yeah. But to your point, I feel like that's why this is so needed. That's why OUTBermuda's work is still important. And earlier you were saying that our biggest problem is racism. And I think beyond that, I believe that our biggest problem is actually that we are living in like this PTSD of colonial history, of colonialism, and that we're all suffering under it, all suffering under the traumas and lies that were handed down to us by people who wanted to divide and separate us into races and classes and systems to provide for a capitalist system that only benefits from the dehumanization of people. And so when our community fully appreciates and understands that we truly are one, and what affects one affects us all, in not just a spiritual sense, but in a real, actual, practical sense, I think we will move. I think we will shift forward. Having the conversations. So I'm wearing a hat today because I have an undercut, right? And the undercut has not been cut, so it's not looking too sharp. And my barber, well, one of my barbers, because I have to admit I'm not loyal to one, but one of the barbers I went to, he's a sweet man, and he's a beautiful human being, and he was saying, well, aren't you guys good? Like, aren't you solid? Aren't you guys kind of set? Like, why is this necessary? And I looked over and I took the buzz away from my ear, and I looked at him and I said, you sound like a white person that says racism doesn't exist because you don't experience it directly. We have got to start appreciating that just because we don't experience something directly doesn't mean it is false or untrue or a lie. And I think Black people, our community, understands the nuances of microaggressions in terms of racism. They understand racism as an entity that oppresses both visibly and invisibly, overtly, and etc. So I think we can, and we do have it in us, to understand the damage of homophobic speech, of homophobic actions. And I'm here to offer myself up as a bridge, as a point of connection, because I love Bermuda. Like, I don't always love what our people do, what our people say, but this place is like, I love our island home for its beauty, both in and out.
And that hour went by fast, but just before you head out, how can people get in touch with you out Bermuda to learn more and to become allies? And I'll touch on, before you go, I'm gonna touch on what I meant by the sponsor.
You're waiting for me?
Oh dear.
Okay, so you're gonna make the last word about sponsors, just FYI.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, so how can people get in touch with us? They can get in touch with us at outbermuda.org or pride.bm. And you can send us an email. You can follow us online. Basically, but there is literally a staff of one, paid staff.
That's you?
That's me. A paid staff of one on 20 hours a week. So please, know limit your expectations of what's possible, especially during this week. But post Pride, I'm happy to help people get enrolled in the Safe Zone training, get lunch and learns happening, etc. But the main thing is not necessarily getting in touch with Out Bermuda, right? Out Bermuda is just one entity. We all have queer people, LGBTQ plus people in our lives. Ask your loved ones who are queer and identify as LGBTQ plus how they're doing. Offer to come to the Pride Parade with them, for them. That was the most meaningful thing that happened to me in 2019, was my brother offering to walk with me, and my niece, who is taking photographs, gleefully walking beside me. And that was the most meaningful thing. It's the love of our families that we are seeking most, and maybe I am seeking most. And when I receive that, it really just strengthens you. It uplifts you. So
Yeah, I said this to you last year, and I'll continue to say it. This year, and if you know me, I love doing comparative analysis. That's the best part about doing my MBA, right? Comparative analysis. And this year, Neil Paynter, probably a relative of yours, president of St. George's, he was taken to task by the general public about cotton match being televised, and people talking about 90,000, throwing numbers out and how much it cost.
Right.
And last night I said, if you ever want to know how much money is in Bermuda or how racist Bermuda is, just look at the sponsors that Pride has. And that wasn't a dig at Pride itself. It's actually an eye-opener to the private sector in Bermuda. It happened after George Floyd with Black Lives Matter. Every company came out the blocks. They love to look good. They love to tie you into something that's popular and trendy. And I'm not saying they don't agree or believe in supporting Pride, but it's fascinating to watch who and what they support and what they don't. Props to Bermuda Pride and OUTBermuda. But there's lessons and there's something deep in this. And this is, again, not to take away, but we must highlight these things when stuff like this happens. Because there are too many people who are fighting good fights. And I think, in actual fact, we should be knocking on Tiffany's door to learn and find out, how did this happen? How did this take place? How can we make this happen for the biggest show out there? I'm glad I have Maya on my team because she's actually showed us a way on how to do it in reference to cotton selection. So in saying that, Tiffany, congratulations on that work and getting that support. But hopefully it's a springboard throughout the community for other things that are taking place to come.
Yes, to your point, we love our sponsors. Sponsorship is but fundraising is an art, and it is a long haul, and it is intentional, and it has to be done in advance. So it is more, fundraising is about cultivating relationships. And while we are aware of this phrase of rainbow washing, most of our sponsors have been on board and sponsoring us from the very beginning. Some of our sponsors want to sponsor us, but are afraid that are local, don't want to receive backlash. And so we are always looking for ground like your sponsors, Medical House, whose owner is wonderful man. We would love to have sponsorship from smaller companies, local companies.
No, you can't. Well, we ain't got that much.
but I think the reason why our sponsors tend to be larger, more international bodies is because they don't fear the repercussions of any types of protest. Or
let's be honest. Let's have an honest conversation. It's popular and trendy. The repercussions are really going to come to those who don't jump on board at this point. Those who do, it's normal right now. That's just, let's be honest. If we went to them,
went
to any of these sponsors, they're going to say, "Oh, our budget's done." For something like this, it's easy now, and that's why that's what I think is my issue. It's easier now because to say no is more repercussions. So they don't support. So I think you guys have developed something where it's easy for people to support at this point.
I believe that it's easy to support it because it's basically being on the right side of history. Once upon a time, in Bermuda and around the world, it was illegal to marry interracially. And women couldn't even open up bank accounts unless they had the permission of their husbands.
Really?
I know you're being dramatic.
And
you didn't know that. Why else would we get married? No, well, let me stop.
Into the 70s, women in Bermuda couldn't open up bank accounts without
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that I understand your views and your feelings, but it's easier to be on the right side of history and to know you are when you have a long history behind you of people being on the wrong side of it. And so that's why you have in America right now people trying to rewrite history because history does not look flatteringly at bigots and at racists or at homophobes. And
I mean, I live in Florida. This is a crazy state. I'm just saying, it's a crazy state.
I'm hoping Dwayne Wade puts his hat in the arena. I'm keeping an eye on Florida. Everyone is. I feel like Florida needs to just be its own country at this point.
I'm trying to make it, Tiffany. Honestly, thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Honestly, and please, if you see me in a bind again, I must be like, Tiff, this line's long. Can you help me out? Wherever. But I appreciate. I've got love for you. Just keep us posted how we can keep the message flowing, and all the best this week.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Maya. Thank you. I love the Daily Hour. Anytime y'all invite us, I'm here. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Tiffany Paynter, folks, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like if you appreciated that conversation. Rosalind Famous also said, it's true, women couldn't buy a house without the husband's name.
Yes. You didn't know this.
I didn't. Not in Bermuda, I didn't know that. No, I knew about like voting stuff and all that. Like I didn't know about bank account and house.
That's crazy. Well, no. I'm gonna shame you a little bit. I can't believe you didn't know that, Jamal.
No, I didn't have that. Nope, I did not know that.
I mean, it's often that people that aren't in the situations obviously don't know people's situations. So why would men? But like, anyway.
No, I've got some on that. I know I do a lot of reading of different things. I've learned a lot about the political stuff, about suffrage and so on. But I did not know this in particular in terms of Bermuda. Obviously, I know the story of loving in the United States. Truthfully, I was taught more about U.S. history than I ever was about Bermuda for some reason. I wonder why, though, Maya. I wonder why. But anyway, let's take a final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up. We've got the Daily Play. Maya, you've got a history question. You saw the game.
Yes, that's the history question too.
Let's take this break because it's just not too good.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
Anyway, welcome back. I'm Rumble Maya. Folks, if you appreciate the conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations. And thank you so much to Tiffany Paynter for always being a friend of the show, coming on. So you need a bank account, Maya. Oh, sorry. You already beat me up. Yeah,
I can't believe you. Whatever, Jamal. Like, it's just, you know what? We're gonna have this argument off screen because
we're gonna fight. But anyway, it's time for Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. And what up? Oh, you're stretching. Huh?
That's good.
All right, let's go. All right, here we go. It's a remember when.
Okay.
Which track and field athlete won 3 gold medals at the 1988 Seoul Olympics and dubbed the fastest woman in the world?
Okay, woman. Okay, never mind. I was thinking Ace Boy who did the triple jump.
Carl Lewis.
The long jump. Sorry.
Carl Lewis.
What year was it again?
They telling you in the audience.
I'm not looking at the comments. I don't cheat.
Cheating. It was 1988. It was FloJo.
Oh, she was one that had like
Florence Griffith Joyner.
All the different like type of track outfits and stuff, and was like very vibrant. She really brought that to the track.
Nails and stuff.
Yes, the long nails and stuff. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't have that one. I suck at names.
Yeah, it was FloJo. Thank you. So, Karen Simmons, we got to get you something. I don't know what you don't have. So send us an email, engage@thedailyhour.com. But yeah, FloJo, you like our new history game, man? You like it? History Channel.
I used to watch the History Channel a lot.
Well, obviously, I haven't watched it enough in Bermuda terms. Oh, we don't have a History Channel in Bermuda, do we? Gee.
Are you using that as the reason why you didn't know about the big guns?
I'm gonna ask my boys, did they know? Ain't nobody know that a woman in my family, women always did their thing. They always had their own. So that's my family.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
I'm just telling.
That's what you know. Anyway, let's wrap it up. Final thoughts on today's conversation.
I love today's conversation. I'm so glad that Tiffany was able to come in and give us some more insight into homecoming, but also really share deep personal experiences as well, because I really think those connect with us a lot more, as humans. Because I feel like in Bermuda, my opinion of what I see is just, I generally don't, I don't want to go say people don't hate at all, but people follow people's hatred a lot, or people hate out of the fear of people thinking that they don't hate, we just follow each other, and we're already scared that if we agree to something, or we wait to see what everyone else says before we say what we agree to or what we don't. We don't stand on our own opinions most of the time. What I see and what I read on Twitter, I'm gonna call it out. It's just I don't even think you guys believe the things that some of these people are saying, but you like it and support it just because it's said, and you just don't want to be the odd one out, maybe. Because you might have a different view. And I feel like that's a lot of just following people and not actually just giving us your own opinion and actually what you believe in out of fear. Like Tiffany said, a lot of what we're scared of is just we're scared of fear and hatred and things like that. So that's what I have to say on that. Really grateful she came by. Really happy about this year's Pride. I had an amazing time at Bermuda's first Pride and last year's Pride as well. It was incredible. It was just a bunch of joy and just happiness. Honestly, people, you don't need to hate. It was probably the best time I've ever had in Bermuda, because I'm very much someone who doesn't necessarily go out or anything, and every time you go to a club, it's just very everyone's just stiff and it's just weird. But at Pride, you just feel light and just good energy, good vibes, happy people, and it's just a happy time and it's just joyous. So hopefully that's what people feel if they decide to show up and be there. It's just no judgment. It's a no judgment zone, and it's something that you just feel so light. That's what I have to say.
I hear you, and I disagree with a lot of what you just said, and I'll tell you why. I disagree with a lot of it because people don't necessarily hate because they disagree. And I think actually most people are more likely to like a post because it's popular and trendy, and they're not going to get that heat with it. I think we're in an era where both sides just need to respect one another, and we don't. Because the minute someone disagrees with us, ask me how I know, conscription, we tend to lose patience. We tend to not care. We tend to really think that they're the worst person in the world. I'm going to love people beyond our differences. That's just the way I see life at this time. It's just the peace that personally it brings me. But at the same time, that love can't come with hurtful things. It can't come. I can't love you knowing that you want to see me hurt. You want to see me in pain. You want to see me doing worse off than somebody else simply because of something, the way I live my life. I think we are closer to a point of agreement, but also we need to understand it's not always what we think of why people disagree. It's not always hate and fear. It's simply they just don't agree with something because they have their own reasons they haven't made public. Hate and fear may be what's out there. Those are the cliche words. That's what the media pushes. That's not necessarily the case, in my opinion. I would have to disagree. I don't think people that I know who may disagree with something I do, it's hate or fear. They may have their reasons. I don't know. But I think we need to stop pushing these narratives that have become popular because I don't think they're helpful. Ronzel Wilkin says, a lover of God and his word can love all individuals, but never embrace a gay agenda. I don't like that term, but that's just me, which does not equate to hate. Can we get, I don't want to get, it's late. I'm not going to get into it, but fair enough. That's sure. Thank you for your contribution. And on that, I just wanted to say this lasting thing with Tiffany. I'm grateful that they trust this platform to engage and share what they're doing to progress the initiatives in the community. I am happy that people are embracing, conversation and willing to have some form of understanding as we move forward in Bermuda in such a small community. And before we go, the Flojo question was regarding Sha'Carri Richardson. Richardson. She won the world championship yesterday, the 100 meters, and she came from deep. But as Karen Simmons is saying, but I want to say a congratulations to her because she's been through a lot. A lot. And I think we are so quick to down people because they're not our favorites, right? I think yesterday was another example of that. She has finally stopped talking, focused on her craft, and the results are coming. Let's support people even when they're down, because when they're up, you're going to be running to speak to her. And just like she did yesterday, she didn't want to speak to a lot of the media. So it's time for daily inspiration. Do you have something, or should I, Maya?
I had something, yes, for the daily inspiration. I look.
All right, Maya's got something for us.
All right, so our daily inspiration is brought to you by the lovely people at ER Fisheries. From Harvey Milk, it takes no compromise to give people their rights. It takes no money to respect the individual. It takes no political deal to give people freedom. It takes no survey to remove repression.
Yeah, and that goes to what I said last week. The rights of people should not come down to a referendum. I'll leave it at that. We need courageous leaders to make courageous decisions. That's what you're elected to do. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Maya Palacio, I'm Jamal Hartman. And I just want to, before we go out, Karen Simmons says, thank you, Tiffany, for the conversation, educating, and vulnerability to share a part of your story regarding your friend Mark. Definitely really appreciate that. And Rosalind Famous says, it's true, women couldn't buy a house without the husband's name. And she says, great conversation today. Well, she's Maya Palacio, I'm Jimmy Hart, and please do make it a safe, a great, and a loving day. See what I did there? Loving. Okay. Look it up.